Hey there and welcome back to the Synth channel. Today we talk about different synthesizers, what they are called, what they are useful for. Right now here we have a monosynth and it's a sequencer as well. Oftentimes monosynths are sequencers, and so I have this bass line, or it's not necessarily a bass line, but I just have this sequence. And today I want to show you what this thing can do a little bit, and then we go on to the next synthesizer. So what this thing can do is it can make sequences, so you can basically make your own sounds and then can create sequences and then can play with these knobs in between those sounds, meaning these knobs are primarily really for playing live. There is other synthesizers where using the knobs live is just really hard, and I think Korg has really gotten a lot better at this over the years. And especially with sequencers also, it's the whole idea is to change the knobs live so that you can hear the changes. This is, I think, what sequencers are absolutely great for. This one has 16 steps and it has this slide function, and with the slide function you can make notes slide into each other. So we have our sequence and now we're just gonna listen to it. So let's play it. And so this part here in the middle that you heard that kind of sounded a little muted, that is the part where we have this slide going on. And this is how you can create a little bit of range. However, it only has 16 steps, meaning it can only be used for very basic acid bass lines, for example, like the old school acid sound. And yeah, there is lots of possibility to change that up, but it takes skill. And yeah, the person that sold this synthesizer to me, I think he believed that there were only the presets and you cannot do more than the presets, and yeah, that's it. That's the sounds that you get out of this. This is absolutely wrong. A synthesizer can create almost any sound that you can imagine. But that takes a lot of time. And when people ask me, how do you get these sounds for your tracks and for your albums out of your synthesizers? I say, yeah, I spend a lot of time on patches. I sometimes spend 3 days just on a patch that I can then use for a song or for a dance song. And it takes a long time to even understand the possibility and what you can do with this in the aftermath. And that is something that we are not necessarily going to cover in this video at all. However, I wanted to show you how a monosynth works, and a monosynth works this way: you can only play one key at a time. Which is nice because you can hold a root note So you can hold a root note and then go to another key, and this one will stay activated, but only when you let go of the other key, which is really cool. You can do a lot just with a monosynth, and you don't necessarily need a polyphonic synthesizer, especially for a beginner. It's just a lot of work to get a polyphonic synthesizer going and to actually do something with it. It's really, really not easy. So I recommend for beginners, sequencer, a monophonic synthesizer. This is a monophonic analog synthesizer. It's very nice, but it is, I think, a very crunchy synth, meaning you can really blow this up with some kind of reverbs in the digital audio workstation, which makes this synth absolutely amazing to me, especially for electronic dance music. And yeah, this one has many different, also very quirky sounds that you can just use and experiment with. I don't think you get the full range out of this with just using this synthesizer alone. And this is where we come to the next piece of equipment. So let's change this up real fast. So this is the Circuit Tracks by Novation. And first of all, to kind of cover why we went from the Monologue to this synthesizer is because you can go with MIDI. So you need to go MIDI into the synth, MIDI out into here. And then you can basically create, here you can change from 16 to 32 notes. So you can make a 32 sequence. You can make a 32 step sequencer. Then you can go to patterns, can add patterns. So that means 32, 64, with those to 128. And so you can make multi-step sequences, way bigger sequences. And this is why this thing is so cool. And it has its own synth also. So you can change here in the presets. What you can also do is you have on the computer the possibility to change not only the presets but also all of these knobs and the routing, which is super cool because you can really make this work for the genre that you wanna work in. And yeah, there is some great effects on it. There is a master filter on it, meaning you can also master filter the synthesizers that go into here. You have also drums on it, so it's a full drum machine that you can also build electronic music tracks very easily with. So it's super simple, and then you can use those effects. Then you can also go to mixer here and go down here. Here you can have all of your individual sounds. So you see this synth 1, this is the volume for synth 1. If you go down here, you can also add master effects like some kind of verb spaces and so on to give it a little bit more of a master kind of a master space also, which is important for yeah, just not having this dry signal for live shenanigans. Really cool. And so this one is really, I think, best of all worlds, especially if you have a bunch of synthesizers, because a 16-step sequencer gets old really fast. And then you need something like this to make bigger sequences. And yeah, this is a great start for a multi-step sequencer. And yeah, so let's hop to the next piece of gear. So what we have here is a polyphonic synthesizer with perfectly working envelope. So this is the perfect kind of, I would say, very small kind of synthesizer in a low price category. So this costs around 350 euros, and it has the attack, rise, sustain, and the release. So this is the whole envelope section, which makes a synthesizer in a way, especially a polyphonic synthesizer. And this is a polyphonic synth, and it has this cool feature. So let's just go down the presets to kind of whatever kind of preset. So this synthesizer has this cool feature that the whole piano is a little bit like a slider. A slider piano. And I think what this thing is especially cool for is for pads. So pads is a certain kind of sound that is this kind of background sound oftentimes. And in my honest opinion, nowadays with digital help from the DAWs, so the digital audio workstations, you don't need a huge synthesizer anymore. You can make huge sounding things with a very tiny synth like this. And I make another video about that, how that actually works. But the cool thing is you can slide around on this thing. Oh my goodness. And yeah, so this is a cool synth. Because it is a polyphonic synthesizer that has this perfectly working envelope. Also, it has, I think, 20 different ways of synthesis. I don't know if it is wave. No, it's not wave. But you have so many different ways of changing the synthesis. I have yet to try that out actually. However, a polysynth is a polysynth, but this synth can do a lot more than just polyphonic playing around. It's a very versatile synthesizer. However, it is counted to the polyphonic synthesizers, and I call this a pad synth. And it has everything. It has some drums, it has a lot of pads, it has a lot of like dreamy stuff, soundscapey stuff. You can make perfect ambient with this thing. You can make quirky and kind of playful dance music. Yeah, Arturia is in general, I think, one of the best when it comes to synthesizers also. And it also has this pitch feature here. So just the whole way of how you can use it is really playful and really modern. Yeah, I can really recommend this synthesizer. It's a polysynth. It has no sequencer function. However, you can also add it via MIDI as far as I'm concerned, small MIDI, and you can also use this as kind of with a multi-step sequencer. And so I think that would be now a cut where we go to the next synthesizer, so I'll see you right then. So what we have here is a so-called Arpegiator. However, this thing has also a vocoder function, meaning you can run, I think, a mic into it. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think a mic. So in this video that you're gonna find via my Patreon, I have actually managed to run a condenser microphone into the micro Korg, then record 40 minutes of street noises, and then basically synth the street noises up and make a full set out of that, which is really cool and proves that the vocoder of the micro Korg is really powerful. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we are going right back into it. And you can also, of course, use MIDI with this. So you can also make a multi-step Arpegiator with this. And so here it has this Arpegiator button, so I can play it like a polyphonic synthesizer. Not with this preset. Okay, so yeah, it can be used like a polyphonic synth, or it can be used as an Arpegiator, and I'm gonna show you now. If you pick one of these up, there is a really cool trick how you can sync the BPM, and you go to Arpegiator A and you go to amp here, and then you can basically, and it doesn't always work, so this is also one thing. I think, yeah, no, it doesn't work right now. I don't know why. This is again here. Now I can, and now you see it's 190. It's really fast. Bump, 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 bump. So let's go to 120. And yeah, it's a little bit quirky. Sometimes it just doesn't want to go to 120, but you have to try a bunch. If you go up to the higher, it becomes really hard, so I don't recommend it. For example, 280 or 283 you will never get, or something like this. So let's go back to 120, and now we have, okay, it works. And let's try just playing. Yeah, turn on the Arpegiator, and now let's just hit 3 different keys. So the arpeggiator is different from the sequencer. You also have this, you can, when you go to global, which is right here, it's now a little bit dark here, you can also use all of the different programs. When you go to arpeggiator A or B, you can then skip certain steps. So the cool thing about an arpeggiator is, I think you can do faster stuff with an arpeggiator than with a sequencer. With a sequencer, when you go too fast, you will not hear anything anymore. So the sequencer is between the range of, in my opinion, 60 BPM to 130 or 100, maybe 140 even, but that's really fast, and then it starts like kind of stumbling. An arpeggiator can go way faster, can make way faster kind of sequences or arpeggios, because an arpeggio is something else, and this is why I'm showing you this also, because there's different kind of synths, not only different models, but also different kind of use cases for synthesizers. And yeah, so this is an arpeggiator, and it also has this vocoder function, meaning you can add a microphone, and we're gonna do this really soon at some point, and then you gotta hit a key, and then it will change your voice. So really cool. This is built into this thing, an arpeggiator plus a vocoder. You can also change the BPM like I showed you. You go to amp and you go to arpeggiator A. It doesn't work all the time, but it works most of the time, 50%. Then you can change the BPM, and so then it becomes really easy. Otherwise it is really hard to use the tempo knob that is right here. It's not really that useful. Also with Korg in general, the whole routing is just all over the place, especially if you change those two. So these effects that you can see here, they are very subtle effects, and you cannot really change them too much. I mean, they're like kind of micro effects in my opinion. The effects that I've tried, like pitch and all of this, and then the routing of these change, so it's not cut off anymore and so on. So this is why this synthesizer is a little bit of a mystery to, I think, everyone, because it's really hard to figure out how the routing works, and it's really quirky. And don't even think about that. It's just, yeah, it's a mystery. It's a mystery box, but it's great as a vocoder. It's great as a polysynth, and yeah, it's a powerful poly synth. So let's go on. Let's go on to the next synthesizer. And so the next one is a synthesizer by Noisio.de. The guy builds his own little synths that you can solder yourself. So you can buy this little kit and you can then solder it yourself, and so you can kind of learn how synthesizers are made. So let's turn it on real fast. This almost sounds like vinyl cracker. So this is how this one sounds like. I hope you didn't think I would not let you hear it. I like these kind of chaos synths a lot because they're really playful, and there is also different presets kind of on this one by, I think, turning it off and holding this button for 3 seconds or something like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it can do a bunch of different things, and it can be also used with a piezo mic to give it this kind of gate in and out, to, for example, use the piezo mic on a drum kit like the inventor does it with his bandmate who plays drums. And so yeah, it's a very fun little synthesizer, and I like this little design. It looks very much like DDR to me. I don't know, like, you know what I mean. Yeah, so really enjoyed building this also at the workshop. But yeah, this was my 5 different synthesizers and how they sound. And yeah, I hope you liked it, and have a good day. All the best playing with your synths or making music. And I see you next time. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.